Ever wonder what secrets are lurking in, like, these declassified CIA documents?
Oh, yeah.
Today, we're diving into one that reads like a Cold War spy thriller.
Oh, wow.
It involves a Bulgarian hunter,
Okay.
a Soviet scientist,
Oh, right.
and a whole lot of primates.
Sounds fascinating.
It is. It's a fascinating glimpse behind the Iron Curtain.
Hmm?
This is from a 1948 CIA report that we found on their FOA website.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
The Freedom of Information Act.
Right. And we're talking about a time when any activity involving the U.S. and the Soviets was instantly suspicious.
Right, yeah.
The report details the Soviet Union's interest in primates,
Okay.
hundreds of them,
Wow.
in Ethiopia.
Interesting.
So the central question here is,
Yeah, what were they up to?
what were they up to?
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the report centers on Dr. Leonid Voronine.
Okay.
He's a Soviet scientist in Addis Ababa,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in possession of 96 baboons
Wow.
and Tota monkeys.
Okay.
These are the survivors of an even larger group that was originally collected by a Bulgarian hunter,
What?
Dmitri Pavlov.
A Bulgarian hunter.
The Bulgarian hunter.
Okay, that's already raising eyebrows.
Right.
This is peak Cold War.
Yeah.
And the involvement of someone like Pavlov just adds another layer of intrigue to the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the report details the primates' journey.
Okay.
First, they were transported by train to Djibouti,
Mm-hmm.
then loaded onto a ship called a Kharkov,
Okay.
and it was ultimately destined for the USSR.
Mm-hmm.
But the journey was far from smooth.
Oh, no.
8 primates died while docked in Djibouti,
Oh.
and during a 3-week stay in Aden,
Mm-hmm.
over half of the remaining primates perished.
Oh, my goodness.
So the high mortality rate is troubling.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder
Yeah.
if the Soviets were ill-equipped to handle these animals.
Right.
Were they deliberately neglecting their care?
Yeah.
Or was this just the reality of animal transport in the late 1940s?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a combination of factors, I think.
Yeah.
Transporting live animals, especially over long distances, was incredibly challenging back then.
Oh, for sure.
Disease, stress, inadequate care likely played a significant role.
Right.
But it does raise questions about the Soviets' priorities.
Yeah.
Were they so focused on acquiring these primates that they overlooked their well-being?
Right. And then there's the mention of mandrills in the report.
Mandrills.
Which is odd because mandrills aren't native to Ethiopia.
That's strange.
Yeah. Could this be a simple error in the report?
Maybe.
A misunderstanding?
Potentially.
Or perhaps something more deliberate?
Oh, okay.
A way to mislead anyone who might be snooping around.
It's a detail that definitely warrants further scrutiny. It could be a clerical error.
Right.
But in the context of Cold War secrecy,
Yeah.
it's hard not to consider the possibility of intentional obfuscation.
Right.
Remember, this is a time of intense paranoia and disinformation.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got dying monkeys,
Mm-hmm.
a mysterious Bulgarian hunter,
Yeah.
and potentially misidentified primates.
Wow.
This is all very suspicious.
Definitely suspicious.
But why?
Right.
Why would the Soviet Union be so interested in primates in the first place?
Yeah, good question.
Was this purely scientific research?
Well, the report doesn't specify the primate's intended purpose.
Right.
But during this era, both the U.S. and the Soviet Union were heavily invested in animal research,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in fields like aerospace medicine,
Okay.
which was vital to the space race,
Yeah.
and more ominously, bioweapons development.
Bioweapons research.
Yeah.
Now, that's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
Were the Soviets trying to weaponize these primates?
It's possible.
This was the era of intense bioweapons research.
It was.
After all,
Yeah.
could these primates be destined for a Soviet lab working on something sinister?
It's a possibility, although we can't draw any definitive conclusions from the document alone.
Right.
However, the fact that Dr. Voronine commissioned Pavlov to collect another 100 primates before leaving Ethiopia
Mm-hmm.
suggests this wasn't just a random scientific expedition.
Right.
They clearly had a specific need for a large number of these animals.
So even after losing so many, they still wanted more.
It seems that way.
That definitely adds to the suspicion surrounding this operation.
Yeah.
What could be so important that they'd risk the lives of so many primates and go to such lengths to acquire them?
Right.
This raises so many questions about their motives and the potential ethical implications of their research.
It does.
Wow.
It certainly adds another layer to this whole Cold War puzzle.
Yeah.
we're left with this document,
Right.
a trail of dying primates,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
What was the true purpose of this shipment?
Right.
Did the Soviets manage to get those additional 100 primates? We can only speculate.
Right. And that speculation leads us down a rabbit hole of intrigue.
Oh, yeah.
Was this purely scientific?
Right.
Were there darker motives at play?
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you think about the lengths governments would go to during this period,
Yeah.
especially when shrouded in secrecy.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
The Cold War was a time of intense competition
Mm-hmm.
and paranoia.
Right.
Both sides were racing to gain any advantage,
Yeah.
whether technological,
Yeah.
military,
Right.
or even scientific.
Right.
And sometimes ethical boundaries were blurred
Yeah.
in the pursuit of those objectives.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah,
It's easy to get caught up in the spy thriller aspect of it all.
right,
But we can't forget the real victims here.
right, the primates.
The primates,
Yeah.
hundreds taken from their natural habitat,
Yeah,
subjected to those grueling conditions.
it's tough.
It raises serious ethical questions about animal welfare,
Yeah, for sure.
especially during the Cold War,
Right,
when secrecy often trumped ethical considerations.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a sobering reminder
Yeah.
of the complexities of scientific progress.
Mm-hmm.
During times of global tension, the pursuit of knowledge can sometimes come at a high cost.
Yeah.
This document forces us to consider the ethical implications of scientific advancements,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when national security interests are involved.
And it makes you wonder about the countless other stories that might be hidden
Oh, yeah.
in declassified archives,
Yeah,
waiting to be uncovered.
absolutely.
This one document about monkey shipments
Right.
has opened a window into a whole network of Cold War research secret programs
Yeah.
and the ethical dilemmas of that era.
It highlights the importance of critical thinking
Mhm.
and questioning assumptions.
Right,
We can't take these historical documents at face value.
right.
We need to consider the source,
Yeah.
the context,
Mhm.
and the potential biases at play.
Right,
This applies not only to Cold War documents, but to information in general.
right.
We're bombarded with so much information these
Let's
days.
hear it.
It's more important than ever to be discerning consumers of knowledge.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's like being a detective,
Mm-hmm.
piecing together fragments of information,
Yeah.
trying to separate fact from fiction,
Right.
especially when dealing with a period shrouded in secrecy like the Cold War.
And sometimes the most compelling questions arise
Mhm.
from the things that don't quite add up.
Yeah.
A Bulgarian hunter,
Yeah.
theories of primates,
Mhm.
a mysterious Soviet scientist,
Mhm.
a ship with a high mortality rate.
Right.
These are the anomalies that make us dig deeper,
Yeah.
that challenge our understanding of the past.
So connecting this back to the listener,
Yeah.
why should they care about a shipment of monkeys over 70 years ago?
Because it reflects broader themes
Mhm.
that still resonate today.
Okay.
The ethics of animal research.
Yeah.
The balance between scientific progress and moral responsibility.
Right.
And the tension between government secrecy and the public's right to know.
Mhm.
And these are issues we still grapple with in the 21st century.
We may never know the full story behind this shipment,
Right.
but it reminds us that history is not just about dates and battles,
Mm-hmm.
but about individual stories,
Yeah.
often untold, like those of these primates caught in the crosshairs of the Cold War.
It's sad.
Their journey, while shrouded in mystery,
Right.
compels us to confront the ethical complexities of a bygone era
Yeah.
and their enduring relevance in today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a reminder that history is full of these untold stories, these mysteries waiting to be unraveled.
Right.
And this specific case, with its Cold War backdrop,
Yeah.
really highlights how scientific pursuits can get entangled with political agendas,
Oh, for sure.
sometimes with unintended and ethically troubling consequences.
Absolutely. And it prompts us to ask,
Yeah.
where do we draw the line?
Right.
How do we balance scientific progress with ethical considerations,
Hmm.
particularly in a world where those lines can be easily blurred?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
This single document about monkeys has led us to much bigger questions about scientific responsibility,
Right.
government transparency, and even our understanding of the Cold War.
And that's the beauty of these deep dives.
Yeah.
We start with a seemingly simple premise,
Right.
a Cold War mystery,
Hmm.
but it sparkles outwards,
Yeah.
connecting to these larger themes that resonate through history and into our present.
So what's the takeaway for our listener?
I think
What should they be thinking about after this deep dive?
I would encourage everyone to check out the CIA FAI website.
Oh, yeah.
It's an incredible resource.
It is.
A treasure trove of declassified documents, each one offering a glimpse into a different historical moment.
Yeah.
A different mystery waiting to be explored.
It's like being a historical detective.
It is.
You never know what you might find.
Right.
What Cold War secrets are still out there.
Yeah.
Waiting to be uncovered.
Right.
Maybe one of our listeners will stumble upon the document that finally solves the mystery of this Soviet primate shipment.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be great.
Yeah, it just goes to show history is never truly settled.
Right.
There are always new discoveries to be made, new perspectives to consider.
So to our listener, we leave you with this thought.
Okay.
The next time you encounter a seemingly insignificant historical detail,
Yeah.
don't dismiss it.
Right.
Dig a little deeper. Ask those questions.
Yeah.
You might be surprised at what you uncover.
Because sometimes the most intriguing stories are hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Just waiting for someone to come along and bring them to light.
And that concludes our deep dive into the mysterious world of Cold War primate shipments.
It was a good one.
We hope you enjoyed the journey.
I did.
And until next time, keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep questioning.
Yeah.
And keep those brains buzzing.
Absolutely.